Samurott might be one of the most disrespected Pokemon in the Ultra League, being ranked at 197 even with having a moveset that contains Hydro Cannon. But what a lot of people aren't telling you is that it has a great opportunity to stand out as an elite water type, especially with the right team around it. Now, when we actually dive into Samurott's stats, it has a higher attack than Swampert and a better stamina rating than Registeel, which isn't anything to look past, but it does fall short on the defensive side. Its moves actually aren't bad as well, with Fury Cutter as a fast move and Hydro Cannon with either Mega Horn or Blizzard as its charged move. But for today's video, we're going with Blizzard. Now, the first thing we want to do is take a look at its weaknesses, where it's weak to Grass and Electric. The most common Pokemon we see as a threat with these types of moves are Virizion, Venusaur, and Registeel with Zap Cannon. Pairing it with Alolan Muck is going to be nice since it provides solid counters to Virizion and Venusaur while having weaknesses that Samurott can also counter. That's a good pairing to start off with, but we need to balance the team with something that can fill multiple roles while also providing support to some of the weaknesses of Alolan Muck. So not only does it need to counter Walrein and Obstagoon, but it needs to draw out Trevenant, Giratina, and even Cressila. So to do that, we're going to be going with Cobalion. This is a nice third edition since you can hit hard against both Walrein and Obstagoon, draw those shields using Sacred Sword, and also draw out those meta Pokemon where we have support if needed. So we have the team built: Samurott, Alolan Muck, and Cobalion, so let's see how we do. Alright, so for this team, I like to start off with Samurott, and the reason for that is because it has a very reliable moveset, and we can also get off Hydro Cannons relatively quickly. So it looks like we're going to go up against an Origin form Giratina. You don't normally see this too much because a lot of people actually use the altered form in the meta. So we're going to try to get this Blizzard off, and we're not going to shield. Most likely it's going to be a Dragon Claw. And let's see what it is. It's a Shadow Ball. Okay, so that threw it off, but we're going to get this Blizzard off. I don't think they're going to shield just because they're most likely expecting some type of water move, whether that's Razor Shell or Hydro Cannon. And they don't, so that is fantastic for us. We're off to a really good start, and they're throwing out a Sylveon. So again, we can throw out our Alolan Muck, deals that super effective damage with Poison Jab, and we also have Acid Spray in the back to lower their defense. And they're actually switching to an Excadrill, so we're throwing out Cobalion right away, getting that super effective damage with Double Kick, but we have to watch out because Excadrill deals super effective damage using Drill Run, which is a ground type move. So you want to make sure we try to get these shields off as quickly as possible. So we're going to shield in this case, try to get this Excadrill out because it is going to deal super effective damage against our Alolan Muck as well, because it is both a dark and poison type. So again, we're going to use the shield, absorb this damage, and we are going to try to get these Sacred Swords off. So we have one built up, we're going to use it, and then this next one is going to be extremely important, but I think the benefit of using Double Kick is that it charges up the moves faster than Mud Shot. So we're going to keep going here and see if we can get this Sacred Sword off before they do, and we do. So they have no shields, we have no shields, but we are going to KO this Excadrill because it is super effective against it. So it's throwing that Sylveon back out. We're going to try to charge up and get this Stone Edge off, actually. We can't shield, so we're going to take the hit. Most likely it's going to KO our Cobalion, and it does. So we got our Alolan Muck, got Acid Spray, we're going to get this off. And again, it's going to lower the Sylveon's defense, so it's going to deal, Poison Jab is going to deal additional damage, which is very nice. And then we can finish it off with Poison Jab. So there we have it on our first game. We were able to use all three of these Pokemon very effectively, and we were able to take advantage of a nice little rotation that we had. So let's see how we can do with battle number 2. So just to reinforce why we're actually using Samurott at number 1, there's a lot of meta Pokemon that Samurott either deals super effective damage or deals neutral damage to. So let's see what they throw out. It's a Togekiss. So Togekiss, again, very, very good, strong Pokemon at countering a lot of the Dark Dragon and fighting types that we normally see. Samurott's a good matchup in this case because we can use Hydro Cannon. I'm actually going to switch to the Alolan Muck. And then we're going to keep using that Poison Jab. So we're not going to shield. Most likely it's going to be an Ancient Power or a Flamethrower. And it's an Ancient Power, which is pretty typical with a Togekiss. And they throw out a Charizard. Very interesting move here. So we're going to go ahead and get this Acid Spray off. Ooh, so they got that up pretty quick. It's going to be a Dragon Claw. We're not going to shield. It should take us to red, but not necessarily KO us, and it does. And we're going to get this Acid Spray. So Acid Spray again. It's going to lower that defense, and we can use Poison Jab a little bit to get that extra damage. And let's see if we can actually get off another move here. We are getting really close, and we get a Dark Pulse off. So this adds extra pressure to the opponent here, so they need to make a decision on whether to shield or let it go. And they decide to let it go, so that's perfect because it takes out our biggest threat to Cobalion.
They throw out a Venusaur, so we are actually going to use the Cobalion in this case. We're going to go ahead and throw that out, and we're going to try to get off a Stone Edge. So we're not going to shield in this case. Venusaur is going to have Frenzy Plant or Sludge Bomb, and both of those moves are going to deal not very effective damage. And they throw out the Togekiss, so we're going to go ahead and use the Stone Edge. I don't think they're going to expect this move, so I'm not expecting a shield, but if they do, that's perfect. And they don't use a shield, so they have one Pokemon left in Venusaur with one shield, and we have two with our two shields. So we are not going to shield in this case. We're going to take the hit. Let's see how much damage it does. Frenzy Plant takes us into the red. We're going to get this Stone Edge off, so they're going to be forced into either using the shield or taking a decent amount of damage here. Let's see what they do, and they end up using their last shield, so this is good. So we're going to use a little bit more damage here, see if we can get a Sacred Sword off. We do. Okay, so we're going to deal a little bit of damage. It's not going to do neutral because it is actually strong against fighting types. So we got a little bit off. We still got two shields, so we're going to go ahead and use the first one, obviously. And we only have a little bit more to farm up until we get to use the Blizzard. So we're going to go ahead and get this charged up, use the Blizzard right now. And this is one of the reasons why I actually really like using Blizzard with Samurott, because it provides a move type that deals super effective damage against the Pokemon that Samurott is actually weak against. So a lot of times they won't expect something like that. Normally people use Mega Horn with it. I mean, which isn't bad, but the better play to use against all the meta Pokemon would be to use Blizzard. So with that being said, let's see if we can carry the momentum from these last two wins into battle number 3. So again, we're throwing out the Samurott, and they're throwing out an Escavalier. So this is one of those very underrated Pokemon, in my opinion, that people should be using in Great League. So this is a Bug and Steel type Pokemon, so we're going to use the Hydro Cannon to deal that neutral damage. And my only goal here is to actually try to burn as many shields as I can. So let's see if they do. Awesome, and we got the one off, so we're going to try to do that same thing again. But we're going to shield in this case. They normally have Drill Run, which does significant damage. And they use an Acid Spray, so they lower our defense. But we're going to get a Hydro Cannon off. And this is what I'm going to do. If they don't shield, we're going to deal significant damage. But I'm going to switch into the Cobalion really quick. And they don't. So I'm going to switch into Cobalion. We're going to use Double Kick and hopefully try to get a Sacred Sword off. So we're not going to shield in this case because it's going to be another Acid Spray. And I know that because of how fast it charged up. Doesn't do a lot of damage, and we're going to get this Sacred Sword off. So I don't expect them to shield in this case just because of how much health is left. But if they feel so inclined to use one, I mean, I'm not going to be upset. Obviously, they don't, which was expected. And then they throw out a Sylveon. So we're going to try to use this Stone Edge. It's not going to deal a lot of damage, but it will do a nice little chunk, which is always nice to have. So let's see how much it does. Yep, just something small, and let's see what we can do here. So it doesn't look like they're attacking. I wonder what's going on here. So we're going to see if we can get a Stone Edge off. You know, it always is nice to have a little bit of luck on your side. So in this case, we got about a second worth of it. So we were able to get that extra Stone Edge off, throw out the Alolan Muck, and we can take out the Sylveon without it dealing any type of damage on us using a charged move. So they're going to throw out a Snorlax in this case. We're going to go ahead and use the Acid Spray. So we're going to lower their defense a little bit, and the thing we have to watch out with the Snorlax is that they typically have Body Slam, and they use Earthquake as their second charge move. So in this case, I'm not going to shield. We're going to save it up for the Samurott just in case, and they use a Super Power. So they lower their attack and defense, so we're going to use another Acid Spray to reinforce that defensive drop. So they're actually going to have the defense lowered on this Snorlax 3 different times, which is significant. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that. We're not going to shield in this case. If they KO the Alolan Muck, that's fine. We have Samurott in the back. So we'll see. It's a Body Slam. Oh, we might be able to get a Poison Jab or two in there. Oh, we got so close. So one touch with Fury Cutter, and we were able to take out that opponent as well. So we've been on a roll these past couple games, huh? So we're going on to battle number 4, and we're going to see, again, if we can keep that momentum going and get another win here to extend our streak to 4 games with this team. So let's see if we can continue to make the smart plays, make the smart rotations, and go from there. So we're starting off with our Samurott against Napoleon. So this is going to be a tough matchup for our Samurott just because we don't have any move types that deal neutral or super effective damage against Napoleon. So our goal here is just going to try to fire off as many Hydro Cannons as we can and hope that they use a shield. So this first one, they don't, and we're going to charge up here again. They're probably going to use a Hydro Cannon or a Drill Peck, so we're not going to shield as well. And it takes us into the yellow.
So actually, you know what we're going to do in this case? We're going to try to farm up for a Blizzard and see how much damage that does instead. See if it deals anything a little bit more than what we had with the Hydro Cannon. So we're going to go ahead and get this move off, and it was 100% not worth it in this case. So we had our lesson learned, which is fine, and we're going to let this move go through, and we're going to throw out our Cobalion since it'll deal super effective damage. So we're just going to keep using these double kicks and take it all the way down to 0 health. Now the good thing about that is we have both of our moves charged up, so we're going to use the Stone Edge right away since it's a Charizard, and this is going to force the opponent's hand into shielding. So let's see what they do. They decide to shield, but unfortunately for them, we are going to charge up to get another Stone Edge off. But before we do that, we're going to shield because we want to play it safe just in case it's a Blast Burn. And it is a Dragon Claw, so what we're going to do is charge up Stone Edge a little bit more, just so we're closer to that double Stone Edge, because remember, they do have an extra shield, so we're going to use the Stone Edge, they're going to shield, and then we'd like to use another Stone Edge right away. So we're going to go ahead and get this first Stone Edge off, and basically what that's going to do now is use up all of their shields. We don't have any shields now, so it's going to be completely dependent on our third Pokemon here. So let's go ahead and get this Stone Edge off. This will obviously KO the Charizard since it's double weak against Rock, and they have no more shields. And it'll be our Alolan against a Venusaur. So we got a very good, favorable matchup in this last battle here. And again, that's because the Venusaur's moves will have no effect really against our Alolan because Alolan is Poison and Dark. And Venusaur has Sludge Bomb, which you see right here, and a Frenzy Plant. So we're going to go ahead and get these Acid Sprays off. But before we do that, actually, we're going to get the game here. So they end up surrendering right away. They knew the matchup wasn't favorable for them. And we go 4-0. So we're going to go into game number 5 and see if we can do a clean sweep of all these battles here. So in that last battle, we didn't have to necessarily rely on the rotations, but we took advantage of our Pokemon and their move types, which was very nice. So we're going up against an Altered Form Giratina this time, again, one of the Pokemon in the meta. But what we're going to do this time is actually surprise the opponent again using Blizzard. So if you remember back to that first battle, we fought an Origin Form Giratina and used a Blizzard. So we're going to do the same exact thing. We're not going to shield in this case. We're going to take the hit from Dragon Claw, and we're going to go ahead and use the Blizzard. But before they got an attack off, I'm going to play it safe and shield in this case. I don't want to give them an incentive to shield when I use this Blizzard. So let's go ahead and get this move off. If they decide to shield, this is going to completely blow my mind, but I doubt they will. And they don't, which is fantastic. And then they switch right away to a Sylveon. So we're going to go ahead and use a Hydro Cannon here. I don't think they were expecting us to get another move off right away, so I'm not sure if they're going to shield in this case. Let's see. And they don't. So we dealt a little bit of damage, but we're switching right over to our Alolan. So again, we're going to use that Poison Jab and bring this thing down as much as we can until we use our Acid Spray. So this is going to force them into shielding, just because they know this is going to be super effective. Perfect. And we're going to do the rest of the work with Poison Jab. So that was nice. We were able to take out the Sylveon without them using any type of charge move, and they throw out the Giratina again. So we're going to use a Dark Pulse right away, and I doubt they're going to shield just because the Giratina has such little health. Let's see what they do. And they don't. So we were able to take out 2 Pokemon there, and they throw it at me Mewtwo and instantly quit because they know we have Dark Pulse and an extra shield, while they had none. So we ended up going 5-0 with this team. Very, very well done with the rotations and the move types, but it's all because we were able to pivot around a very solid water-type Pokemon in Samurott. So hopefully this video shed a little light on how lethal Samurott can actually be in Ultra League, especially with the right team around it. I personally don't think a ranking of over 150 does any justice, especially since it can counter a bunch of meta Pokemon like Giratina, Swampert, and some others, but, you know, who am I to say? I just try to show what these guys can do in a couple different battles. So remember, if you want to see a specific Pokemon or team featured, let me know in the comments and it might be featured in the next video. But until then, see you all in the next one.